All right, Earpers. I think many of you know me. For those who don't, my name is Kevin Batchelder, and along with Bonnie, Farrar, I co-host the Tales of the Black Badge podcast. Thank you. Anyone out there with a dry eye still? Okay, because I suspect you won't be at least by the time we get through the panel. If you have listened to any of our podcasts, or you follow me on social media at all, you know that the Earp sisters are my jam. So I am so excited to get a chance to do this panel, and a big thank you to Earp Expo for giving me this opportunity. But I want to take a moment now to introduce our guests. Please welcome Melanie Scrofano and Dominique Provost-Chocolate.
These things we have, they're new, they're different. I wonder why.
Oh, no, they're the same.
I feel like I'm really far away from you both. Let's just shuffle along.
Here we go.
Okay.
You like each other, whatever.
As long as our mics cooperate. Just before I get started, we all know how awesome the Earpers are. So before the panel started, I was given a gift by Adrian, and there's one for each of us here.
What?
And if you open them up, you'll see that they are in light of how emotional the panel might get. It is a tissue.
No way!
A tissue that says, "Keep your shit together."
Amazing. Thank you.
That is absolutely perfect. I bought my first hanky the other day, actually. Nice.
All right, now I'm ready.
Okay.
Now I really have to keep my shit together.
You should wash it.
It's kind of warm. I like
it. Now, I figured the best place to start actually would be to, if we can't go a little bit back to the beginning when the show started. It was interesting that in the first interviews that we did on the podcast with each of you, Dom, in that first interview you talked about how much you enjoyed just doing your opportunity to get on the show, just to be able to spend time with these people. You wanted to be friends with them even if you didn't get the part. And Mel, you talked in that first interview about how amazing it was, how quickly the Earp sisters came together as a part of the show. So I'd be curious, do you have certain memories of that in the beginning and why that kind of happened?
Like the audition?
Yeah, that feels like it was literally 10,000 years ago. But it was like probably one of the most special days of my life, for sure, because I
got off the bus.
It was actually a train.
Oh, ruined the story.
Sorry, I know. And I had one day in Toronto, and I went and met Emily and Mel, and we ate quiche.
Yeah, that was weird. I just remembered the quiche.
Yeah.
My boobs are all fudged now. They're like stuck in the wrong
Regretting it?
But yeah, because I wasn't supposed to, I was just like, hey, if you want me to come to be the reader to the audition.
You're the reason I got the part, for sure.
What?
Like 100%. Because I just remember Emily saying, we should just roll the cameras and just, did you not remember that? I was like listening to everything because I was like, I hope I get this job. And I just heard her say, like, we should just roll the cameras and show the producers this, because this is it. Like, we don't even need to do the scene. And I was just like, does that mean I got it? like just trying not to freak out. And then afterwards it was like, let's just sit down, have a chat. Like, how are you? Like, let's eat quiche. And the entire time me being like, this is still an audition, but like trying to be on my best behavior, but also just having like,
I didn't want to
best
tell you,
time.
but you had spinach.
There you go. Classic Dom. There's just no part of me that's surprised about that, but still got the part. Too good.
Keep your shit together.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a fun day. It was just a very memorable,
Oh my God.
because I didn't know who else, there was nobody. Where did you come from? You came from Montreal?
I happened to be in Montreal,
Oh, that's right.
but just by chance, and my manager rang me and was like, "Are you in Montreal? Because like they want to meet you in Toronto." I was like, so it was just completely luck that I happened to be there, because otherwise I would have had to tape with notes. It wouldn't have been the same thing at all.
No.
So it's just like the universe, man. I was there. It was perfect timing. Sometimes these things align, and I just remember thinking this is too good to be true. Like being in a room with, and Lisa was there as well. Lisa Harrison, who's wicked as well, and like all of
She supplied the quiche.
She supplied the quiche, and all just three really amazing women that were just like so much fun and like talking about like really like bold things in comparison to like the Brits, you know? Like we were talking about. I just remember it being really like open and like just like, so much amazing energy, and just thinking, this is the best audition I've ever had. And I remember saying that to you, Kevin. Like, even if I don't get it, I want the numbers.
I remember you said that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how
You
I
can
felt.
have my number.
Super cool.
Because we saw some behind-the-scenes footage just from the first few episodes shooting. The two of you were just goofing off together. You could really tell that you know,
What? That
outside of
sounds-
the characters, had some real chemistry together, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It just feels like such a long time ago. Like season 1? What happened in season 1, Mel? I remember that we were. No, Bullshot came later, no? Bobo.
Del Rey.
Yeah. It was all of that Earth Air stuff. The sorry about being the air and.
Like when you said that, I thought there was an airplane, like Earp Air. I don't remember that. Like, you know how Drake has his own plane? Like Winona had her own.
I didn't know that Drake had his own plane.
He has his own plane.
Of course he does.
It was like 10 years ago, so the depreciation is crazy. He's like a pauper now. Anyway.
Now, having done as many conventions as you have, you get to hear from a lot of the fans about what this sister relationship means to them. I mean, can you talk a little bit about what that's like when you hear from fans that way, with the impact it's had?
Was that for both of us?
Yes.
I thought I heard at the beginning, I heard Melanie. La la la. No. Oh, God. Weirdo. I always love it when people come up personally and talk to me about the sister relationship. It always warms my heart because I don't have a sister. I don't have a brother. And I've always thought how cool that would be to be able to share that like special relationship.
I think that's what, I think because neither of us has a sister. Like for me, I was like, oh, I hope I'm doing sistering right.
Oh my God. I was like, is this how you do it? I guess so. Like,
It's a lot of this. Did I do it? Was I a sister? I don't know. So it's that thing where you're like validated a bit. And you're like, oh, okay. Like
Yeah.
I love when people have two sisters, and they're one of they're either
The Waverly
or the Winona or the
Winona.
Willa. Nobody admits to being the Willa. They're like, I'm the Waverly. I'm like, Everybody loves me.
Yeah. But yeah, much of all of that stuff really. It's like, but it's cool. It's super cool that people are moved by the relationship, and it means we're doing something right, which is
All
great.
of the relationships, though, too. Like,
Yeah.
I know that's not what this panel is about, but like all of the relationships, it's so much like our show. There's so much like monster, whatever. So when people actually talk about the relationships, I feel like we really gave some heart to something that could be really.
Yeah.
Is esoteric a word that I could use here?
I think so, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What does it mean?
Speak for yourself. Esoteric. Yes.
Definition, anyone? Want to put their hand up and
Oh wait,
tell us
let me
what
try and then
esoteric-
you can tell me.
Okay.
It's like something that's like, ooh. Like it's so like insoteric, esoteric. Relationships are insoteric.
Okay.
Okay, monsters are esoteric.
Okay. Cool.
No.
I'm going with it.
esoteric.
English.
Don't fuck with my spelling.
Now, you touched on a little bit there about talking about how in the show, Waverly is, everybody's favorite, and she's by many folks seen as like the perfect part of it. And we know Winona has got her challenges when it comes to what she's had for relationships and choices. But, when you look at that and the fact they have these big differences, what is it about their relationship, though, that really just makes it work?
Oh, that's a fantastic question.
That's what she says when she doesn't know an answer. And she's like, so she buys time as
Time, yeah.
We've had her on the podcast. We've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a real thing that I do. See, they now are owing me. That's a
Because you're
weird-
Waverly and
Yeah.
everybody loves you.
No.
That's an excellent question.
Well, credit for it goes to Bonnie. She's the one who suggested it. So.
Thanks,
Oh,
Bonnie.
Bonnie with her hard questions. Where is she? What is it that makes it work? Go on.
Isn't it that sort of opposites attract thing? Like, like we balance each other out so well. I think true in real life, but like, it's like they're so different, but they fill the needs of the other.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Oh,
that was well said.
that was very well said. And
He's worked.
yes, thank you. Yeah, exactly.
Next.
Check.
Care to elaborate?
Yeah, I do.
How do you elaborate on such great?
I know, it's
Exactly.
tough. You put her in a tough spot.
It's esoteric, is what it is.
And you just fucking me right up with that word. Yeah, I think that they balance each other really well. But it's also, and like maybe I'm not one to talk about this because I don't have a sister, but I would imagine that like there's something that happens when you have, and it's like with all family members, right? That there's a natural bond between the two of you that you can't break away from. And like there's probably, well, I know certainly I've seen relationships where like it's a real choice sometimes to like choose to like accept them for all of their flaws, and like it's, I think for both of them, or certainly for Waverly and I'm
Because
sure for,
Winona's flawed and you're not. I get it.
no, Waverly's super flawed, but in different ways. Like
How? Like how? First.
she's got her own demons.
Does she?
Yeah.
Like what are they?
Like Jolene.
Oh right.
Yes, I made Melanie snort.
Too effing shame.
Thank you.
Yeah, like they've gone through so much together too, and
Yeah.
it's like,
But it's also choosing to accept them for their flaws, for each other for their flaws, and like constantly striving to have a good relationship despite their differences. You know, I think they both have that common goal.
well, because they're all each other has in terms
Exactly.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think I smell. Do I smell?
It's probably me.
Oh, no, maybe not. Tinge.
Tinge. Okay.
Cat made me put this stuff underneath. No, yeah. But not that stuff, actually. A different. Like she gave me this body butter, and she was like, "Yeah, put it under there. It
that's not
smells good."
deodorant.
But it's not. Yeah. So it's kind of like a melange.
Yeah. The French shower. I can say that because I'm French. You guys can't say it. It's racist if you say it.
Now, going back a little bit to season one, for me and for many of us, one of the defining scenes for the Earp sisters from a relationship point of view certainly was in the season one finale, when the two of you realized you had to go different directions to take care of things. So you couldn't protect each other directly. Was the forehead kiss on the screen. And when we talked to Emily, she mentioned how there was some dialogue originally planned for that scene. And they realized that day that really by that point, the
That was
two of
you,
you.
Mel. Sorry.
Oh, I mean, she didn't say it was her specifically, but she said that's an evolution of the characters by then. It didn't need dialogue. You two could carry it with just the look and the kiss. I just didn't know if you remembered anything about that.
I'm pretty sure I remember, but then you know me with my memory, so it could also be a little bit of a melange of truth and not truth. But I think I remember. Mel often does this, which I find so brave and inspiring. That she'll be like, "Do we need these words?" Like with Paolo, and just say it stronger without the words.
Yeah. Well, often, like, you have to write. You have to write things because a script is, they're sending it to the network and to producers and stuff. So, it needs to be there so that they know what we're saying. But then on the day, you can say it with a look, or you can say it with a kiss, or you can say it like you can take. And Emily's very generous about that. A lot of writers are like, my words are genius. Don't touch. But Emily's like, just whatever you need to like make it honest and make it work, do it. And she's very generous like that. And so, yeah, sometimes it's just like, yeah, I think.
And Paolo is also, and I think that was a Paolo scene, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, yes, it was the end of, it was the last episode, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah. So it would have been Paolo. And I think, and you guys both have such a artistic vision with that stuff. I'm always really impressed when you do that stuff anyway.
Thank you.
You always know where to put it as well, which ones to take out and stuff.
Sometimes I just don't know my lines. We don't need this.
Yeah. It's not true. It's always very well thought out.
Now, that is just one of many emotional Earp sister scenes in the series so far. Dom, I know when we had you on the podcast recently, I asked you about how you prepare for emotional scenes with Mel, and the two of you get together. You talked about how very much you force yourself into the present because Mel really draws you there. I didn't know, Mel, if when you're doing these, is there a certain thing when you've got to, really let the emotion out that you do to be ready to do those?
I've always been so curious about what Mel does to prepare for the scene. So are you going to be honest about it? Are you going to talk
No,
about
I'm
it?
going to hide it.
Yeah, I
I
thought
don't
so.
want you to steal my trick. It depends. Like, I find in this show, I don't, like, on some things you really have to, like, there's this magic thing called menthol, and they just blow it in your eyes, and you're crying, and I'm like, give me. I just did that on something because I was like, I feel nothing. I don't care. But I find on this show, I find that the story, it's the mix of the stories and the character. I just find it's enough that I don't really have to try very hard. But I do tend, and you've probably observed this, like I get very quiet and I get very like focused, and people are joking around and I'm like, don't joke around. That's
And
not
you put your music in as well sometimes to kind of just,
yeah, like just to, well,
not
because
even for the music, probably just to be like,
Yeah.
don't talk to me.
Exactly. Because I tend to joke around a lot on set, and then so then when I'm like, or I need to focus, otherwise I can't make my face protrude water.
No, me, it's so
It's like you literally, it's like,
it's like, and go. And you're like,
oh my God, it's so, that's how it feels. Like it's
oh,
honestly,
it's the worst sometimes, isn't it?
and it's
Yeah.
just the anticipation of it. So yeah, just like the headphones thing is just like, just so you know, I'm seriously at work here.
Yeah.
I am like really deep and devoted. Is that did you get any secrets from me?
No, I think I
Yeah,
knew all
you've
of that
seen it all.
bit. But yeah,
Yeah, I just think on certain things, it's just enough, like just to know
To say the
and to connect
word.
with the.
the person, and also probably with Winona, you can probably relate, well, especially with like the baby stuff, like it was all there already and all those things. So yeah, it just depends on the situation. I'm like one of the only actors in the world that menthol doesn't work on.
You need to get punched in the nose.
I know. It's so frustrating.
Try-
I don't even have a backup if it doesn't
Try-
work. So
I'm giving you one right now. Okay. Try looking, like if we're outside,
shh, don't tell anyone.
like look at something really bright.
Okay.
I've seen somebody do this, and then it's like, because this is not cheating, by the way. I'll tell you why. Because sometimes you just need to. It doesn't matter how you get the emotion, as long as you get the emotion. And sometimes just that feeling of water coming to your eyes for the dumbest reasons, all of a sudden you're like, whoa.
Dropping in.
Like that time I got her.
Whoa.
I'm telling you, just look at something bright
And it just.
see. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe try.
Yeah, give it a shot.
Yeah, give it a shot.
We'll talk more.
Okay, cool.
It's a good trick.
Thanks.
Now, we got some questions from the fans ahead of time, and one of them kind of relates a little bit to this, was from Autumn, who asked, have you folks have a favorite, a most memorable Earp sister scene for any reason? One that just
Baby.
sticks?
Oh. Yeah.
You hate it?
What, when we delivered the baby?
Yeah.
How could I ever hate it? It was like one of the most powerful things I've ever experienced. Except for on my coverage with the screaming baby that came in.
But did you see the show?
Yeah. So
Good.
good. No, I didn't. Yeah, well, didn't.
But on the
day.
on the day, it was
It was-
like, yeah,
Yes,
maybe
you
really
did.
fucked her over.
I really did. It was like
Great on my coverage.
there was two different babies, and the baby that came in from
Yeah, you
Elle's
got
coverage, thank God, because like it was perfect and it needed to be that way. But it was like the first baby came in, she was like this little mini angel. She was so perfect. She like touched her lip at the perfect time, and she was like, "You see these fingernails?" And it was
Yeah,
just
like-
like we were both like, and it was just like all the tears, all the everything, and it was like perfection. And then they're like, "Okay, now we're gonna go for Dom's coverage," and I was like, "Okay, cool, we've got this." Like, don't need to do anything. It's all there because it's fine. And the baby, they're like, so we're going to switch in babies now. I feel really bad for this baby, by the way. You're wonderful. You're going to be a wonderful human being. I'm not like being mean
No
to the
career,
baby.
though.
But the baby comes in and it's just like screaming at the top of its voice, just like over the whole thing. And I'm like, I'm supposed to like be like, oh, because the other baby didn't scream, so I didn't react. And it's just like, I was like, oh.
Did you have to voice over your whole?
My entire thing. Yeah, I know. On like an emotional scene, it's like you're like, oh.
That's the worst nightmare.
Yeah, but it was fine.
Kate, what was your favorite? Then what's your favorite Earp moment? Was he?
Oh, goodness.
Esoteric.
This. I still need to look up that definition because I don't understand it. I don't know. There's just so many, isn't there? When looking at that montage, it's
I
like,
know.
wow. and all for such different reasons. Like,
Yeah.
like I loved the day when we were on the cliff with the man with the limb, the thing. We just had such a fun day. Do you remember?
Oh,
Yeah, like that was
yes.
so I remember just being like, this is so much fun, and the mountains were there, and we were just like jamming out, having a good time, laughing the whole day.
That was really fun.
Super
It
fun.
was like the first sunny day. It was a bit warm.
Exactly. So there's like all different reasons as to why I loved them. I also like loved that first scene where we were looking out over the balcony, and you're just sat there, and I kind of walk in season 1. Kevin, you know which one I'm talking about? At the end of season 1, episode 1, 2, 1, 1. And it's
One.
On the
episode 1 on the porch, yeah. I remember feeling like, this is cool. I have a sister. Like, this is super cool.
And the view, like, we're,
Yeah,
like,
the
we're
view.
doing something cool.
Cool. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And like that, those butterfly kind of feelings of just like, I couldn't believe I was in a TV show. Like,
Yes,
just
yeah.
like, oh
Yeah.
my God, and like being with you, and just like, yeah, that was a very powerful one for me for the sisters.
That's a good one.
But like all of them,
I know.
you know?
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's a hard question.
Now, how would you, some folks had sent in a question, was in character, if you had a situation where someone within the show had never met the other one of you, and you had to describe your sister, how would you describe each other?
As Waverly and
As
Winona.
Waverly describing Winona, or Winona describing Waverly?
She's a firecracker.
Would you say it like
No.
that? That implies.
No,
like,
no, no. I don't even really know what firecracker actually means, to be fair.
It's good, but it's a bit like,
It's, yeah.
But
it's good.
But be patient with her. She's got the most beautiful soul.
Yeah, you're damn right. I would probably just be like, yeah, you'll love her.
That is actually true.
Like, because, you know when you have to describe somebody that everybody likes and you're just like, yeah, they're great. Like, I already know. You'll like them better than you like me. Enjoy.
Now, working as much as you have together now, is there anything specifically that you've learned from each other personally?
I think it's something that is reinforced every time, which is like, Dom always thinks stuff she does is crap. And then I'm like, oh, okay, so you can think something is crap and it's not crap. You know what I mean? It's like, because I know that it was great, but you're just, so it's selfishly. I'm like, okay, so just, you know, just because something doesn't feel good or you didn't feel like you got it, like it's good. You can trust it. It's like you don't have to worry. So I'm able to move on from things better.
Oh, okay.
If does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I think it might, you know, if she thinks it's bad and it's great, then maybe I can trust that this is good.
That sometimes, yeah, your judgment isn't necessarily always correct.
Yeah.
That's nice. I think that you've taught me that I will never forget, never, ever, ever forget, the first weekend we were in Calgary. I came over to your, do you remember when you were in the flat that you didn't like?
Oh God.
Before you moved to the other flat that was opposite me. And I came round and I was just like, I spoke to you about how like I just was super nervous about everything and so unconfident and like cried and was just like, and you just said to me, like, everything that is going on right now is like so beautiful. Like the fact that your emotions are so close to the surface is such a superpower. And I was like, what? Oh, and it was like the first person that really like tried to explain to me that vulnerability was positive.
Oh, how appropriate.
Yeah. Yeah. You're so there already. It's crazy before you even started to cook.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
Wow. Switching back into characters, Hannah was curious, is there anything that you'd like to see the Earp sisters tackle together that they haven't yet?
Want to go get Alice with me?
Yes. She just said, "Wanna go get Alice with me?"
But like, we'll leave her where she is. Because I don't
Say hi
think
and then
we
bye.
want like a babysitter on set.
Oh yeah, true.
But we'll go say hi.
Yeah, we'll go say hi. Check everything's good.
Yep.
Yeah. I want to know what happens in season 4. So bad. Like, so bad. We've waited long enough, man. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
True.
Now, we often hear how, as actors, you have to create a backstory, sometimes yourself, for some things that might have happened for your character till it plays out in the story. Have you two thought at all about it when you two were younger? Some of the things that might have happened between you that created the relationship that we eventually see when they're older?
God, like at the beginning, I did
Yeah.
a bunch of backstory stuff.
Oh,
It would
gosh.
be so funny to go back and look at it, wouldn't it?
I would love to see that.
But yeah, I did way too much work on it. So unnecessary. I remember.
see it.
Yeah. Do you remember I turned up with like acting books and stuff, and you were like, "You brought acting books from the UK?" I was like, "Yeah." Did you bring anything else? No.
I should borrow one of those. Yeah. But I feel like a lot of the backstory, do you feel like a lot of it Emily had talked to us about? Like if it wasn't written
Yeah.
somewhere, she was really clear in her own mind where we had been. So I feel like she did a lot of our homework for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Emily.
Yeah, and like she always surprised me at how you'd ask a question and she would already be
Yes.
so on it. She'd be like, "Oh well, this and this and this and this, and then you did this," and I'd be like, "Oh whoa, that's so accurate and helpful."
But also
Definitely.
open, which is nice. Like I never felt like I had to change anything
No.
that she said, but she was always open to us changing it if it didn't work for us.
Totally. Yeah, but like specifically between the sisters, I mean,
Did we have a slinky?
for sure. Did you have a slinky?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be
One for each
surprised if
house.
you didn't.
Divorced houses.
Oh, I had to take mine with
Two
me.
slinky. Oh. Boo. Did you have the plastic or metal? Metal.
Plastic. I'm sorry, world.
I had metal.
Well, speaking about, having backstory for them as growing up, obviously a part of that would have been Mama Earp. So now, looking forward to season 4. Any thoughts or projections of what it's going to be like that first time you each see Mama Earp after the way she kind of left things? How their character would deal with that?
Winona ain't gonna be happy, I don't think. Huh?
No, I think, seeing the effect that it had on Waverly, yeah, I think Winona would turn back into, oh yeah, you're an ass and we can't count on you.
Yeah.
I got this.
Absolutely.
What about you?
I think Waves just wouldn't want to see her at the moment. I think she'd just be a bit too hurt, Just would rather just not go there for a sec. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what context. I mean, I just have no idea what's going to happen and like where I am or like like what happened up there. Like maybe everything, you know, you have an experience like that. To be fair, you have an experience like that, and then you start. I mean, what do you do when you have an experience like that? It's not very common, but.
It's almost, I think it's esoteric. I'm actually, I'm not trying to do a great callback. Like, I actually do think that might count-ish in the definition of esoteric. How do you say esoteric? You're just spelling it the whole time? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I'll stop saying it.
But yeah, maybe, well, when you have a near-death experience, for example, your priorities and the way you think about relationships may change dramatically, I would imagine. So potentially she would just, maybe it would be a clean slate situation. Who knows what she's gone through up there? I cannot wait to find out the answers.
Mm-hmm. I've got a little something, again, showing how amazing the Earpers are that I want to show the two of you and everyone there, and we'll kind of move into the pull out your tissues part of the panel.
Wait, I have to get my...
Scared.
Yeah, got to do it. This is courtesy of Jill, a.k.a. Nedley's office. Oh. This is a collage showing the photos of every single time Winona has said baby girl. Throughout the series, from the very first episode, you know, when Waverly's in the news, right down to going up into the garden, which is a great bookend to things. So talking about the emotional scenes and a lot of other things, for a lot of us, every time I hear that baby girl, I know I just have to take a breath to not lose myself in it.
Oh my God, yeah. Sorry, hang on. I know, I'm really selfish.
So it's
Oh,
just
this one.
something.
Yeah, that's the first ever episode.
Guys. Oh,
Oh, you
Okay.
said it twice. in the first
I say it a lot, apparently. Look at, like, this is the first, when I'm like, it looks like I'm looking up her skirt, but I'm not. This is when I'm like at the beginning, when I'm holding her up so she doesn't choke. And this is when she comes down from not choking. This is with Willa. She's definitely not okay because she's with Willa. Anyway, etc. Like, this is beautiful. That's amazing.
So, I mean, I'm curious, by this point, when you look at a script, does that baby girl have that same impact? Do you realize as much as it does for all of us?
I just thought it was a thing I say. No, I can speak for myself and say, no, like, you know, it's that thing that, like, seeing it from here, I can understand why it resonates. But yeah, I mean, as Winona, it's just what she calls her sister, you know? But from the outside, I can obviously see.
How meaningful.
Yeah. Oh, we lost her, okay.
Yeah, I mean, when Jill gave that to me, I just felt it's something I had to share with all of you because this is such a community, family situation, and it shows it very much for me in that phrase every time we hear it. And really, you did such a great job with it, Mel, every time.
Oh.
You did.
That's very sweet.
I know for myself and many of us now, it gets harder and harder, and also more enjoyable, if that makes any sense, as the emotional...
From a man, yes, I understand how it's harder and more enjoyable.
Oh, Kevin! Oh.
That's okay. The emotional scenes, as you do them, it just gets, every time, at least for me, when you see them coming,
Keep your shit together!
okay.
That wasn't for your face. Poor Kevin.
And that's why you're the best. Okay. No, dealing with these emotional scenes, it's something that, it's why we love entertainment that can move us. But it's also because it feels so real.
Right.
So, I mean, it's something I just want to be sure, very honestly, just to publicly thank the two of you for just making it seem so real every single time. A couple of folks were very curious to hear if, for both of you, if you had role models when you were growing up that really helped you a great deal, whether it had to do with business or not, but just someone that you would say, that was someone I really looked up to that helped me a lot become who I am.
I'd probably say my granny. Yeah. She's crazy. Beautiful, crazy little fairy. Yeah.
You guys make handmade cards.
Yeah, so many handmade cards, so many, everything made by hand, gifts. She taught me about how to be giving. I remember she talked to me about when I used to get my pocket money and how important it was to think of others, and like just taught me to be like thoughtful and kind, be like treat everyone the same. Just she's got a lot of the right things, my granny.
Hey, like just when you were asking the question, I feel bad for, I mean, there's so many people, I'm sure, but I remember in kindergarten, I would get dropped off outside my school, and we had these monitors they were like in grade 6, but you know when you're in kindergarten, you think they're grown-ups? So it was like this like grade 6 or something kid, and I would cry every day. I was so scared. I thought we would get locked out of the school, and my dad had left, and then I was like, how are we gonna eat? Like I was so anxious.
You mean when they closed the door after?
No, like we would be outside and the doors weren't open yet. And so we were locked out and our parents were gone.
Ooh.
And I was like, where is the control unit? Anyway, I don't know what that means. But so this girl, I remember she would get frustrated because that's a lot to deal every day. This kid is crying. And then one day she walks up to me, I think it was the end of the year, so no more crying. And she gave me a little money change wallet. And she was like, this is for you. And I don't know why, but it was just like that act of kindness of like, you annoyed the shit out of me all year. I still think you're cool, you know, and that acceptance.
That's awesome.
Yeah, like I don't know who that was, but I love her. Yeah, made me feel good.
I also used to really, really look up to, I still do, Alicia Keys.
Oh, we're going a different way.
I just really like Alicia Keys. I think she's wicked. She's cool. Anyway.
But can you tell us why?
Because she's so talented, and then she was
Down
like,
to
fuck
earth.
makeup,
Yeah, I know,
and
I
was
know.
just like, I just think
She's
she's
very
awesome.
authentic. Yeah.
She's really good at music, too.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
Well, before we wrap up, a couple of notes, folks. There are still photo ops available tomorrow, so if you have cast members you want to get photo ops with, they are available. For those of you who like me, have an Earp Sisters shirt and are aware that we're doing a big group photo of all of us in our Earp Sisters shirts right after this panel. We're going to do it right out the back here in the foyer. We've got the photographer to come out there. You ladies are invited if you want to stop out there.
Sure.
I think we've got somewhere between 40 to 60 of us, so it should be pretty good.
Wow, you guys.
So, but I really, be sure, let's speak a big thank you for Mel and Dom. Thank you, ladies.